Today we're going to look inside the transformation journey of Elisabeth. Elisabeth works in finance at Nestle, and maybe you've heard it in a previous episode, but at Nestle they have decided to go through my course all together because they want the people at Nestle to find more balance, more resilience, while still having an impact, of course, and increasing their motivation. And so at Nestle, we started a culture program all together. We started first with one person, Catherine, who went through the course and transformed and really motivated her CEO and HR director to then get the course within Nestle. Then 20 leaders went through the course as a test. And after that, with Nestle, we decided that everyone within Nestle would go through the first 3 modules with a goal also of changing the culture, because they realized that it's not possible for the people to work even harder than they are today. So we need to work differently. And so today I have a nice conversation with Elisabeth, who shares her transformational journey thanks to the program. It's really interesting, and she's very open about things, about how she has been trying to get from the old her to the new her for a couple of years, but sometimes her body was resisting, or she didn't find the key to really transform. And now Elisabeth talks about how managing her mindset really had a huge impact on her transformation. So tune in for this very nice and open conversation. I'm Muriel, CEO, mom, and educator. I used to work really hard and sacrificed important things to me until I lost my motivation. Fast forward past many failed attempts and lessons learned, and I found a way to reach great results while working less. Today, I'm obsessed with helping other leaders build meaningful lives. So each week, I'll be sharing inspiration to change your life and organization. This is Rebel Leader with a Heart. So nice to meet you. How are you?
I am fine. Thank you. I'm really fine. And I'm really glad to have this opportunity to discuss with you about this training. I did this training so I'm working for Nestle. So you know the story. We had the opportunity at every level to do this training, and it was really, really an interesting training. So I'm really glad to be able to give you the feedback about it.
Nice.
That's something that I'm really glad to. And thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. So maybe first, what are the challenges that you were facing and that you thought, like, when I'm going through this training, or I have the opportunity to go through this training, what were you thinking to solve as challenges that you were facing?
By doing this training, of course, you find some links with your own reality and what you're living in your daily life.
Yes.
And indeed, then you're like, she is just right there. She finds something. So it's really true what she's doing and why she's presenting in this. And it's really logical in what you are living and in our private life or in your work life. And what was important for me, I think the thing that I keep for myself, and it was really an eye-opening for me, it was really the mindset.
Yeah.
Change of the mindset, because the habits we all know, I mean, it's something that you already know. It's quite something that we hear. And of course, changing our habit, it's not easy. It's good to be reminded of some things, but really the mindset, that was something that I really learned a lot by doing this module. And also for myself, because I realized that a lot of time I was really seeing everything through my own eyes and wondering why everybody was so wrong.
Yes.
How come? They don't see it, why? But actually, no, it's important to, but of course you can only see it when you step back, when
Exactly.
you pause, you step back, and then you have this inner calm to be able to also ask yourself the right question. Let your ego calm down a little bit. Okay, it's maybe it's you, it's not always them, and just wonder, okay, what were they seeing and why they were acting like that or thinking like that. And we are all different and we all see it differently, and we have all our own way of learning and evolving and changing. So everything could be normal and we all perceive everything differently.
Yeah.
So this change of mindset and the way to pay attention to, okay, the other can see things differently, but also how to communicate with them when we want something, that's also important. Okay, to realize that maybe the other person is in a different state of mind than you, different objective, different personality, different life moment, etc. But then how can you make sure that in the way you communicate, you also communicate through the emotions, through the words that you use, through the body language that you use, that you make sure that you are aligned on the objective and everything that you want to achieve at the end. So that's really something that was quite an eye opener for me.
Yeah.
And practicing it's something different, but at least it's there in my mind. And now, for example, I always think about it after, say, maybe that was an opportunity to practice this or to do that. But then it's just a moment of just a way of reminding this that it's there, and then using those tools, being aware that it's there, and then be able to use it. It's take a little bit of time, but that's all the practice it is. But it was important to keep that in mind and to make sure that next time, okay, what's the objective, what do we want to achieve, and what do I want to give as a message, and that's quite important.
Yeah,
So that
nice.
was really the most important. I mean, what I felt more interested in the training.
I heard a lot of people who said, and for me too, for me it changed my life, and that's why I wanted to share this, because it changed my professional life, but it also changed my personal life, because you can use it at home as well, or with your partner, or with your children. So I don't know if you saw an effect there.
Yes, yes, because again, this step back to try to have a look at this, I realize as well. Okay, for my family, some behaviors, for example, of other members of my family, trying to understand what's the root cause of that.
Hmm.
And then when you try to understand why they're reacting like that or why they have been like that, I think at one point we were talking about the family, the mother, for example, it's the mother always. Why is she is acting like that? Why is she doing this for us or to us? And why is she talking to us like this or like that? And then you start to understand this. She was raised like that. She
Yeah.
was living in an environment like that. She's doing the best, or she's expressing that in this way. When we were expecting, for example, because I'm coming from quite a traditional culture and some kind patriarchal culture,
Yes.
the image of the man is quite important, and the woman is responsible for the household, for example.
Yes.
That's
And which culture, when you say
I'm Assyrian. I'm coming from the from Turkey,
yeah.
basically. I'm Assyrian. Yeah. So it's quite traditional and it's really strong. And you realize, okay, my mother is not capable of saying some things because it's not the way she was raised, and some things I'm coming from a culture where things are not said.
Hmm.
So it's like that. But then she's expressing it in a different way, like taking care of the food, taking care of the house, taking care of
Yes.
us, calling, do you need anything for this COVID? Do you need some food? I mean, do you have everything you need? Are you missing this? Always giving us stuff. That's the way of expressing a few things. So it's really understanding, wait, you keep on focusing on, she's not saying this, she's not doing that, but actually it's there, but it's different than what we expect. So
But
yeah.
you know what I found wonderful in what you're sharing here is that it seems that you managed to not react to certain behaviors that were probably annoying you, but that you managed to see the need behind it and to then answer to that need instead of react to the behavior.
Yeah, it's a long work, to be honest. Your training, I was really eager to do it, and I hope I can do it again, because I'm really planning on doing it again, because I had quite a difficult year behind me. But that's another subject. So I really want to do this training again in a more calm way, to really be able to be using all the tools and all the reflection that's behind it, because there was a lot. It's really a rich training. It's every module, there's something you can spend days thinking about it. So
Yeah.
it's really, you can go deeper in everything. So that's really interesting. But it's a long process, because coming from that type of culture, being who I am, being someone who's actually introverted, a reserved person, I've been working on that a lot thanks to Nestle. Um, it's really a long journey that I took a few years ago, thanks to Nestle as well, because they showed me a way of being and it was making sense to me. So I tried to work on it. So me changing is something that I started a long time ago already, a few years ago. So it's a journey that I've been taking, and everything that I can grab from everywhere, it's something that helps me to move on. So going from the old me to the new me, of course, you end up in this uncomfortable zone, because it's the transition zone,
Yes.
which is a source of a lot of frustration, because you think of who you want to be, and then you see that your body or your mind is still thinking or acting in the old way. So there's part of you who is thinking, okay, but why can I not just be like that? It makes sense. I want to be like that, but how come I still react like that? So it's really still a transition for me to move toward this person that I want to become. But the frustration is still there. So it's
Yes.
still, yeah, it's still completely there. And it's thinking about, okay, but you see, everything that I have been through, I actually wanted to change to that, but I was acting the old way, because my body is so used to it that it's like automatic. It's a trigger.
Yeah, but
I was
that's
living
what,
all these years as a trigger.
yeah, but that's what we call also this muscle memory. And
Yeah.
muscle memory, not only from your body, but also all these connection that you have used all these years, and then now you want to transform, and you have started practicing these new
Yeah.
connections and this new body also, but it's not yet the new normal.
Yeah.
And just to maybe reassure you, for me, I'm teaching all these things. I've been practicing now for a couple of years, and I still fall back in the old me at times, especially when I'm under pressure. But I often say, even the Dalai Lama or other very zen people, they also have negative emotions or fall back into bad behaviors at times. That's normal. The only secret is to notice it
Mm.
and then to come back to what you want to be or
Yeah.
who you want to be. And I hope you're not feeling guilty when you see still old behaviors, because it's completely normal.
I, I'm I'm working on that as well. I'm working on that as well. So, like I say, it's really a journey that I've started. I'm just at the beginning of all of this, because it's a lot of things that I want to learn and to change and to become. But it's the beginning. And yes, sometimes I do feel guilty. Say, come on, why did you react it like that? And then you start to think, okay, maybe my attitude could have been different and the result would have been different as well. But then at one point, and that's how your support group is there to remind you, yeah, but maybe, okay, you have to be honest as well with yourself and be tolerant, because when you have someone in front of you, what would you say to them if they were living what you were living? Say, yeah, I would be, because I'm someone with a lot of empathy, so I would be telling them this or that, to be how do we say that, to be gentle with them, to be more kind with them, because it's a learning process. So I have to learn to do that with myself as well,
Yes.
to be
Yeah,
kind with myself, which I was not.
I heard somewhere that you should talk to yourself like you would talk to your best friend. You wouldn't
Yeah,
say to your best friend, my God, you sucked there. You should have done this, and I don't understand. You're not good enough. Go home.
yeah, yeah.
You will never get there. You would never
Exactly.
say that to a friend. To a friend, you
Exactly.
would say, you made a mistake. It's okay. We are not perfect. And
Yeah.
just accept it and move on. You are great, and I know you will get there.
No, it's true, and it's that little voice in our head that we nourish every day unconsciously. It's there, and it's really hard to work with it, and it's really starting to talk to that little voice. Okay, wait, but no, yes, I made a mistake, but then, okay, let's learn for next time. It's really trying to enter this dialogue with yourself and starting to hear other things than what you used to hear. It's a long time. It's a long journey to be there. And it's a lot of work, daily work to change. And it starts with the thought, actually. Yeah, it's a lot of the emotions, because the body keeps on reacting the way it has learned to react. But yeah, it's the, like you said, the neocortex is there to reason, and it becomes the reality. It becomes who we
Yeah.
are. Sometimes it becomes our action, and our action is sometimes, or behavior is sometimes also can be mixed up. It's not, but um, can be confused with who we are. So it's really about learning to do the difference between, okay, that's your action because you have this reaction, or your body has been reacting to this and that, but then who you are, it is this, and try to merge the two to actually make sure that your behavior is aligned with who
Yeah.
you are, because it was not the case. So it's a whole process of thinking, but it takes time.
Yeah. And also, sometimes I'm also in this situation where I have this little voice. I often say I became a CEO because I had this little voice that said I'm not good enough. And that's partly it served me, of course, but sometimes it's really heavy and hard and you don't feel well enough. And now sometimes I still have these negative thoughts and I don't manage to change them into positive thoughts, although I think, okay, I have to talk to myself like a friend. And that's when I know I have to put them aside and do something with my body.
Mm.
Go for a walk outside, go with a friend or call a friend or sing. I like to sing also, or to dance or do some yoga or hug my children. And then when you feel great again, then you can change that little voice, or it changes itself, in fact.
Yeah.
That's why the module about energy is in fact there, because the if you manage to implement Fido to change your mindset, that's the key. That's the whole key. And the energy is there to help you do that, in fact. Because when you have high energy, that's when you have great thoughts also.
Mm. No, I agree, and I really noticed that um, I have been through a period that was really complicated, and I was only reacting, which is of course not sustainable in the long run, not for me, not for my environment. So this type of mindset is really not easy to go through for everybody. So being able to take this time with everything that happens with the confinement and everything, I have been able to step back a little bit, and to be honest, which is great, because I doing things, or I realize things I couldn't have been realizing before, about seeing the job that I have done in a more positive way. Okay, but what have I reached? I thought that I was not doing anything, not doing well enough, but actually
Yeah.
I have reached quite a few things that are quite important for me. The same for my private life. Okay, wait, because this problem you've been um, keeping for months or years, and then suddenly, because your head is more calm or your body is more calm, now you have seen a way to move forward with that issue, with that problem, and then your brain is starting to think about solution rather than just focusing on the problem and how hard it is to have this problem. And that's really important. And I have been doing as well a lot of yoga or meditation, trying to calm myself as well. It's not easy to meditate. I just sometimes my eyes are open, not being able to close them, because you're like so stressed.
Yes, I
The body
understand
is so,
completely. Yeah.
yeah, it's your, but you cannot control your body sometimes, because it's like handling the energy that you don't have sometimes control on. But then I realized that, okay, when my body and my mind is calming a little bit, suddenly I have an idea on, oh wait, let's call this person and ask this question, or let's do this. And then you wonder, but wait, I mean, it's not magic or rocket science. I could have done that a month ago. But no, you have to be calm enough and to think about the solution rather than just thinking about the problem. But it takes so much work to step back, which you cannot do all the time. So that's complicated as well. When you say pause, that's something that I couldn't have done 2 years ago. I should have done that pause. I didn't do it. And I realized now, wait, you were in that situation, you were not even realizing how bad it was. That was the moment where you should have paused instead of making things worse after it. But then again, it's easier to analyze what happened when you're outside the
Yes.
situation. It's always easier to say to people, wait, you should do this or that, but it's harder to say to yourself. But yeah, but it's a learning. Everybody tells me, yeah, but it's a learning for the next time, and at least you realize. And that's the evolving, that's the growing part of it. And if you don't realize and if you don't take it as an experience, then it's really a loss. It's really wasted of time. It's really just not making sense. But
Yeah.
then let's use it to grow, and that's the most important.
Yeah, and can I share something with you? Because, well, I see a lot of leaders, a lot of people, and first of all, I'm really grateful for you to share that with me because I can really see that you have made a lot of progress. It's not a little bit. The things that you are sharing about your life and even the doubts that you are sharing are for me a huge progress.
Mm,
And you're probably much further than what you think, than where you think you are today.
probably. I
Yes.
hope. It's good. Yeah, I can see around me that people are also noticing that I feel better, that my way of thinking is more positive. I'm starting to see in front of me rather than behind me. And that's something that people are starting to see, and really a change in me, saying, okay, but the last time that I have seen you, I really see the change. What happened? What was
Yeah,
the, yeah, well, that it means that slowly it's there, but then it's also about continuing. And okay, you fall back sometimes, it's two step, it has to be two step in front and then one step back. But then,
exactly.
okay, it's normal to have some down period as well. But I know that some people around me has noticed as well that that I'm changing, and I notice as well, what a waste of time to be mad all the time, what a waste of time or energy to be mad all the time, to think about things you cannot control. It's okay, again, it's easy to know it and to say it now, but then when you have something frustrating in front of you, just you go straight to it sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's learning as well.
And that's the difference between knowing stuff in your head and knowing them in your heart and your body and experiencing them and being able to behave differently because knowing we know so many things today, and in fact we know too much. I think we know too much,
Yes.
but with our heart and with our body we don't know enough. In fact,
Yeah,
we're always in our heads.
exactly. No, and it's true what you're saying, because I discussed with someone this week, and I was telling him, you know what, yesterday I couldn't sleep. My body was restless. I was like that. My eyes were open. I had to put some loud music in my ears to be able to calm down, and nothing going on in my head. Just my body was restless. And it just said to me, because normally it's the opposite. My head is going and going, going, and my body is out. And then you say, you know what? Maybe that's just excitement that you're going through. Say, okay, wow, that's actually something. It has been a while since I have felt maybe excitement for something, and that person was really there to say, you know what? Maybe that's what your body was trying to tell you, that for the first time he's excited for something, and I couldn't even recognize what my body was sending me as a message. So it's true
And
what
were you excited about something now
Yeah.
that?
I think that I only realized after that what it was. I was feeling that I was nervous about something because I just had an interview that day that went really well, but it's it, I didn't feel the stress during the interview. I was really calm. I
Yeah.
came home. I did my yoga. I did my dance class, and then at night around midnight, it hit me. My body started to be like that, and I couldn't understand what happened. And then the next day, try to discuss that with someone, say, you know what, maybe that's just excitement because you were excited about that
Yeah.
interview because it went well and you had a good contact with the person. And maybe you feel that it's your next step and your body is feeling it, but your brain is still doubting yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, it was really crazy. But like you said, sometimes our body suddenly reacts and our head is not ready, when it's sometimes the opposite. Our head is leading and our body just follow and then stops when it's too much. But in that moment, it was the opposite. My body was leading.
And Do you have examples of situations where you know you've had impact now because of these new habits?
Yes, I am more calm with my family because I realized a few things that the way they were expressing something were different that I was expecting. So I am more calm with some people, more understanding. And I took some decision, for example, that was really hard before. And and I see the difference because it's making things moving forward towards something.
Yeah.
So I see the difference, something that I was not able to do before, but right now I took a decision which can be complicated, and it's going to make things change because for the first time I feel that I'm taking the ownership of the situation, the control of the situation, or what I can do. And it's going to be much easier than everybody saying it's not me, it's you, it's this or that. Okay, I decide this for myself, and then let's wait for your answer to this. And I really notice, okay, let's make the first step. I decide, and then we'll see step by step how it's going to change. And I think it's really that let's make the first step, and then we will see the next step. Not instead of being in a situation where I I see 100 wrong scenarios of everything and
Yeah.
think he will react like that, he will react like that, he will say this, and he said that, and he's going to say this. I said my word. Let's wait for what is going to come back.
And that's also huge, because in today's complex world, we cannot foresee everything in advance. And so we have to set this first step and trust that it's going to be okay.
Yeah,
And also that it's okay to disappoint people.
yeah, not true. And for the work as well, being in this situation where you have all this frustration about things that are changing, but then again, you just think, okay, they are also going through a lot of things. Um, the way you're going to react on some situation is going to make a difference for them on a few things, but it's hard as well. But then
Yeah.
you realize that it's really not that easy to take into consideration the other person um, mindset as well, or energy as well, because you are so uh, sometimes stuck in your own energy trying to handling things. And of course some situation can be different. That's why I'm saying I maybe have less example related to work, and that's why I want to redo this training in a different period of time, in a different situation, because I know it's going to help me, because it's in line in what I believe and I know what I want to do. But yeah, it's looking back, I just realized all the opportunities I had that I could have done things differently, and trying to make sure that I realize that, because you're saying awareness is a choice. And this awareness, I hope, will help me to make better choices after that.
Or
That's the
or
only thing,
in
because
the
I cannot
moment,
change.
that's even better.
Yeah,
To
I
be
cannot
aware
change the
in the
past.
moment and change in the moment. Yeah.
And what is done is done. What is said is said. What happened happened. You can only try to hold to what you have noticed, and hoping or working to make sure that next time you react differently. So I think that's the best way to use this training, is really to make sure that you are aware of it, and that you have that for the next time something happened. The most important, because you can only change the future.
Or the present, but not the past.
Indeed.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
And compared to other trainings, how would you say that this one is different than other trainings?
What I find interesting is that really the platform that you are using is really easy to use. So I really like the fact that you mixed up some videos, external by external people, and your own videos, and everything linked to the notebook. It's really interesting because you really see the flow. You have first the videos or the reading to do by your own reflections, so you're really authentic when you present your own video, and other videos to be inspiring and to make us start thinking about the subject that you are seeing. And then going through the notebook, it's really the opportunity to start reflecting on everything we have seen or heard for ourselves. So that's really interesting. The combination of those three elements, I find it's really working. And the fact that we can work by model, and the fact that we can use it in a flexible way, so wherever we want and when we want to do it, or how we want to do it, it's really, I think, answering to a need right now to be flexible. Because like you said one moment, if you ask somebody to be on a training a day or two, it's for them like losing 2 days. It's crazy. But right now, the way that it's, the flexibility that it offers and the way it's built, it's really, really easy to use, and it's really giving time to everybody to reflect. That's really something I have seen. It's that I had both. I had the inspiration and then the time to reflect for myself.
Yeah, nice. And also that's what we discussed with Paul, is because of course you have already a lot of leadership courses within your organization, but this one is more about learning to understand how we function as human beings, like on a deeper level. And once you know that, then it's easy to do a course about feedback or communication and implement these techniques. But if you don't have like this foundation of understanding how you function, how others function, what's happening inside of you that prevents you from implementing these communication or feedback techniques, well, those are an example, but that's what we tried to, or that's what I tried to do also with this course.
No, I agree. And you really see that, because indeed, when you think about all the classes that you had, it's really interesting, but it was all about interaction with the others. And yeah, that's why I was thinking about this own reflection, the time for own reflection. Indeed, it starts with us. Instead of just thinking, I'm not communicating well with that person, working with that person is not easy. What can I do? Okay, but what do you um, do to make to also create that situation where it's complicated to work with the others? And indeed, understanding each other, I mean ourselves, can make the difference. And it's a journey, internal journey that you are doing. And that's actually, yeah, it's a good way of doing it. It's really stepping back and starting with ourselves before we can start with the others. And I think it will make the difference indeed.
Yeah.
No, that's it. Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you for your feedback. And are there things I could help you with specifically?
No, not specifically for this training. Like I say, I have been using this training for my own professional and private life to try to see things differently, to try to work on. And I really think that it's important to have this training to be able to use it as well, like that in the future. So that's really important, because it's something that you want to fall back on when you need a refreshment, or we need to go back to something to just take the distance. That could be the distance sometimes that we need to remind ourselves of a few things. So really, that's really nice, and I appreciate the sometimes the email that you do and the podcast that you do, because it's about being reminded in the chaos that you are going through, in everything that you are going through, being reminded sometimes. And this can be the breathing time that we need, just to hear, to be reminded of a few things. That's really important. So I would say it's really nice to receive some emails with some links, to just take a moment to breathe and to be reminded, okay, that was the goal. That's why you are doing it. So okay, now remember. So let's move on. But yeah, I'm really curious about going through the emails that you are sending, and going through the experience that you are sharing with us. And yeah, that's something I'm looking forward, actually.
Thank you. Thank you. And do you have maybe some feedback for me on how I could improve the course, further improve it, or maybe things you've heard from your colleagues as well?
To be honest, no, I would say that it's really it's the first time I'm doing this type of training. And like I say, the combination of different tools is really, really interesting for me. And plus the combination of the personal experience of the training, and then I think the group, I didn't have the opportunity to do the group training or
Sessions,
exchange
yeah.
in the company. But I think it's really important as well, because if you only have the personal journey, it's fine. Everybody's changing with their own time. But I think it's really when you exchange with the other, that it's really, I don't know how to say that in English, that it really makes sense. And then you hear it from someone else. Not only you see that, okay, the other is also struggling, but it has more power, and it's still longer when you really exchange with the other.
Yeah, when you
So,
learn
yeah.
collectively, that's when you get the new habits together and the new culture also within your team and your organization.
Exactly. It's also necessary to be really authentic and showing his vulnerability, because then you say to the other, I'm struggling with that. Maybe you can help me by noticing it and telling me nicely, okay, oh, you know what, you're falling back in the old habits there. Just pay attention. But yeah, I think that collectively, I believe in that the collectivity can really help to move forward. I exchange with people outside my colleagues. Yeah. And they're
Yeah.
really, really, I mean, I was telling how great it is, and I was telling how interesting it is. And I was telling it's really, you should do it as well. You should do it as well. So, yeah, I keep on telling to people, you should do it as well. So it's really interesting, because when I see something with them, it reminds me of something that I've seen in the training, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe it will be interesting for them as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, nice. Maybe I will hire you then to to do my
Maybe
sales.
tomorrow. No, but it's true, when it's well done and it has an impact on our life, it has to be said as well. And that's where you make the difference, when you have a real impact on the people. You give the material, you give everything, and then it's the person who is open or not. But when you do that change to people, I think that the best gift you can give to someone is really to give them this change that they needed. Yeah, that's the impact that you have on people. That's the best gift you can give them.
Well, thank you for your feedback, because that's, yeah, I often say that's why I do it. And when I see that somebody managed to change thanks to my program or my course or my videos, it's, yeah, for me, it's really great, because that's the thing with online. You don't get immediate feedback, so you don't always know, did it work, did people like it. Yeah, so thank you very much, Elizabeth. Well, I hope this podcast episode inspired you, that you got something out of it, how the journey of transformation is not always an easy one. And the key is always to continue to get up again, be nice with yourself, and continue practicing, because nobody's perfect, and we will never be perfect. It's just okay to see when you're not maybe on the track you wish you take, noticing it, and then coming back. Now, if you think it's the right time for you to transform, or for your team, you really want to transform your team, we will start a new cohort of Leading Authentically in Digital Times. It will start on March 22nd. And so you can join us. You can first, of course, look at our webinar, subscribe to our webinar. Then you will find the link in the show notes of this episode. Or you can go to www.QILEADER.com, QILEADER.com/empowerment-masterclass. And in this masterclass, we will talk about how you can empower and engage your team members, but we will also talk about the transformation and about the course that you can get through. Because in the next cohort of Leading Authentically in Digital Times, we will have a bonus course added to that one about how to engage, empower, and motivate remote or hybrid teams in these fast-changing digital times. So if you would like to transform yourself and you are ready, you think, okay, it's time now for me to invest in my own transformation, or it's time now to invest in the transformation of my team, then be sure to join our next cohort, because it's always nicer to transform together than to do it alone. Well, thank you for listening to this podcast. I really enjoyed, and I really want to thank Elizabeth once more for being so open about her transformation, because of course this is a journey and not simply a destination. Thank you very much, and we'll see each other in our next podcast, or maybe inside the course. Yeah, you finished another episode of Rebel Leader with a Heart. If you want more, go to rebelleaderwithaheart.com for show notes and past episodes. If you love the show, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend. The more, the merrier. Thanks for tuning in and have a great week, you Rebel Leader with a Heart.